chat get ready with me using some old favorites. So I've been kind of getting inspired by Angie's videos lately, Angelica Nyquist here on YouTube, and she just did a OG favorites video, or like products that she hasn't used enough but she's mentioned as favorites. But I'm gonna go back to like an older eyeshadow palette today that I haven't used in probably like 6 months. So as you guys know, I've been trying to limit myself with eyeshadow palettes this year and not pick up everything that I like want to get, because it also costs money, and I have to realize like I'm trying to be a lot more picky about what I want, but I also have been kind of going a little bit crazy the past couple of months, so I'm trying to slow down. I only purchased one thing yesterday, and I did get something else, but I had like an Amazon gift card for it. So I'm trying to be better because I honestly can't really afford it right now. So we're going to go back to some older products. I don't know how old this actually is, but I'm going to use it today. So I'm going to go in with my original Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. I don't even remember the last time I actually used it, but it still smells okay. Yeah, it still smells fine, so we're just going to use that. If it smelled like bad, I would not put this on my eyes. I would just use my regular eyeshadow primer. So I'm just going to blend that out. I mean, just, you know, pat it out with my finger. Honestly, for like everyday looks now, I've just been using the ColourPop Party Proof Primer, and I really do like that one. I don't know why that one gets so much hate. It's so similar to the Urban Decay one. I feel like it's pretty much a dupe. And I don't think it's as tacky as this one is. I mean, tackiness is a good thing, but sometimes you don't always want it to be too tacky or it like is annoying, but I'm just going to use that. And then I'm just going to throw on my Dewdrop lip oil. This isn't going to be an OG favorite forever, because I've used this ever since it came out in the Wild Nothing collection. I've repurchased this, I think, like at least 3 times or more. So I think this is like either my 4th or 5th one, but this is my everyday lip oil to prep my lips, and I love it. Like, I've tried quite a few, and I always go back to that one because it's still my favorite. And then for the powder, I'm going to go into a powder that I used to use all the time, and I'm going to use it to set my eye primer. So I'm using the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Perfecting Powder. It still smells fine. You have to judge older products on how they smell, because if it smelled bad, I would not use this. So I'm going to use this today. I've been so hooked on the ColourPop Pretty Fresh one for so long. This is what I use every day. I've been using it, I think, I don't even know, at least a few months at this point. Probably more. I don't know why my eye's bothering me already. But I used to use this one a ton, as you can tell. And wow, it's still really, really nice. Sometimes you kind of get caught up in your newer products and you want to show your older products some love, and then you're like, oh, I should use that. I should use that. So that's what I'm trying to do today. So, you know, when it comes to blushes and highlights, though, it's kind of overwhelming still, but I try my best to rotate as many as I can. But my blush and highlight collection has kind of gotten really large, and it's just becoming like ridiculous at this point. Not like where the drawers are overflowing too much, because I kind of cleaned out some more products, but I'm just really trying to not buy every single eyeshadow, every single blush and highlight that I want. So for the eyeshadow palette today, and this is what inspired this for me to film this today, is I'm going to go back to the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. So I'm going to use this guy today. I don't think I've used this since Valentine's Day in February. I usually whip it out for Valentine's Day every year, and that's usually the only time I use it now, because ever since the Naked palettes have really not been that popular anymore, There really have just been so many good eyeshadow formulas on the market, especially from indie brands that I've wanted to try that honestly are better than the Naked palettes, but I wanted to revisit this today and use it, so that's what we're going to do. So for the crease, I kind of want to use these two berry tones today. So I'm just going to go straight into Bing because I want it to be like a more pinkier crease. I was thinking about using Feels, but I want it to match my shirt a little bit more. So we're going to use this guy right now. And I'm going to use just the brush that's in the Naked palette. I actually really enjoy these brushes. So I'm going to use that and throw that in my crease. And that's still a very pretty shade. But honestly, it's not as pigmented as I was expecting it to be. Like, you kind of have to build it up. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because with the Naked palettes, they're obviously a little bit more of a sheer formula because they're more so for the everyday user. You know, some people just own the Naked palette and don't have any other eyeshadow palettes, like myself. Like, that's how I started when I first discovered the Naked palettes. I was kind of a late bloomer, but I didn't get a Naked palette until I think 2016 or 2017, and my boyfriend got me the Naked 3 for my birthday. No, it was for Christmas. He got me the Naked 3 palette, and he got me the Electric palette. And those were my only two palettes for like 3 months. And then I discovered the chocolate bar palettes from Too Faced, and then I started collecting those. And then I got like the first Naked palette and started collecting those after that. But I have decluttered a couple of Naked palettes. I mean, the Naked 3 I can't really use anymore because it's too old. But I'll never get rid of it, and plus I can't really sell it because it's too old, and I don't want anybody to use like a 5 or 6-year-old eyeshadow palette on themselves. But also because it was a gift from my boyfriend, so I don't want to sell it. And then the same thing with like the 2 chocolate bar palettes. I don't even use those anymore. I have pretty much not, I mean, I'll sometimes revisit Urban Decay, but I pretty much have kind of gotten rid of almost all of my Too Faced palettes because I just don't use them anymore. I don't think Too Faced is that good of a formula anymore. It's so funny because I used to rave about Too Faced and Urban Decay. I still think Urban Decay's formula is better than Too Faced, but Urban Decay is kind of going down a route that nobody's really understanding now because they're not really like releasing anything that they need in their line, like blushes and highlights or bronzers. Like, where are the blushes and highlights, Urban Decay? Like, when they came out with the blushes and highlights like a couple of years ago, like it's been like a couple of years at this point, and for some reason we still haven't seen blushes or highlights from them. It's very weird, especially with such a big brand. Like, Pat McGrath has pretty much filled all the gaps in her line except for having bronzers, and I feel like she need to come out with a new foundation or something, like, or maybe like some kind of skin tint. I don't know why she hasn't hopped on that train, but it's not the end of the world if she doesn't want to follow every trend. But basically every other brand in Sephora offers like almost a full range of products except for Urban Decay. Like, Benefit doesn't really have eyeshadow palettes, but like Urban Decay used to like kill the game, and now it's like they release Naked palette after Naked palette after Naked palette. And yes, it works. It sells. But it's like, do we need mini Naked palettes? Do we need this in a Naked? Like, it's just too much. It becomes like, just like, what do you call it? Like Nars's orgasm. It's like, how many orgasms do we need to have? I mean, it's a good thing, but not in, I feel like with that, they just will never stop. And the same thing with the Naked palettes from Urban Decay. So So I used Devilish to darken up the crease, and now I'm using Privacy, which is the deepest shade in the palette, and I'm using that to deepen up my outer corners. I still really like this palette, you guys. It's still really nice. But pretty much after the Wild West palette, that was like the last chance that I gave the Naked palettes in Urban Decay. After that palette, I stopped buying them, and I actually ended up selling that palette on my Poshmark like a month or two ago because I just was not feeling the formula of it. I think the formula in this palette is much better, and I think that there's a better range of colors in here. This is almost like an updated Naked 3 to me, but also like this palette is one of the only palettes in my collection that has the like mid-tone pinky berry shades that I want from brands, because for some reason no one has really released the color story of my dreams when it comes to a pinky berry toned palette. It's always like one pink mauve shade and the rest of the colors are either neutral, deepening shades, or like not pinky toned. And I'm just like, when is someone going to release a berry? That's why the Or Kid You Not palette, I've used that palette so many times because that was actually filling a gap in my collection that I didn't even realize that it filled, because I was not going to pick up that palette originally, and after I got it, I was like, wow, this palette is really like something that I needed. Not that I need any eyeshadow, but I'm just saying, like, it was something that I was looking for. That was the only palette that really came close besides this one, or the Huda Beauty New Nude palette. But I ended up selling that one too. That was gifted to me by the same person that actually gifted me this palette, Chippo Gray. We did like a Sephora swap back in like, I think 2019 or something, or 2020. And we got each other like products from Sephora, and she got me this palette and the Huda Beauty palette. But I ended up selling the Huda Beauty palette to a close friend to me that I met through Debbie's channel. So I knew it was going to somebody that would use it. So that was really cool. Okay, so I'm just putting on some glitter primer. I'm feeling very chatty today, so I just felt like keeping it on. Not every single product I'm going to use is going to be an older product, but most of them are going to be. So then for the lid shade, I'm using that color Young Love, which I think was the last shade that I used in this palette, because this is the shade I usually always use around Valentine's Day in this palette. So, but again, I haven't used it in a little while. That is such a pretty color. Like, I felt like they cared more about the formula back when they were releasing like these color stories. Like this cherry palette made sense. The Heat palette made sense. The Honey palette made sense. But then after the Honey, like even the Wild West palette made sense for the Naked palettes. I thought that that was a fun palette. I just didn't like the formula. I didn't think it was that good. I think that these shimmers in here are much more buttery soft and easier to apply. The ones in the Wild West palette, I felt that they were very stiff. So I just ended up not really jiving with that palette, so I ended up selling it. But I gotta list some new stuff on my Poshmark because I'm kind of slacking on my new listings. And I have quite a few things that I would like to sell still, so. Okay, so that's that. And then once I have that on, I'm just going to pop on a brow bone highlight. What I can appreciate about the Naked palettes too is that they always have a brow bone highlight in them that works for me. And I'm going to use the shade Hot Spot. And even if this is like too light for you, there are some like a little bit darker tones. Like the shade Caution is a really good brow bone highlight for like medium skin tones or like olive skin tones, and then Feels is like a good one for like deeper skin tones. So I still think that they think about a range of, well, they used to, because in the Cyber palette, that was kind of like, what the heck? Like, how are deeper skinned women supposed to wear this? But also, like, I saw like almost every reviewer say that it was just terrible formula wise. So the packaging was so cool, and I convinced myself not to get that. The same thing with the Ultraviolet palette. I'm like, I'm never going to use this Ultraviolet palette either. But I was excited for it to come out, and the collector in me that had collected the Naked palette, I was like, I need it, and then when I saw the color story, I'm like, I'm not going to use that enough. So that's what I've been trying to really think about when I purchase eyeshadow palettes now. Basically, every ColourPop palette that I've gotten the past few months, I've used them a ton. Like, I've used in the Springs palette a ton. That's become my favorite summer palette. I've used in the Limelight palette a lot, and I love that palette, and I want to use it more. And then the Nude Mood palette I've already used enough as well. So, like, that's why I was purchasing a couple of ColourPop palettes that I was interested in that I didn't have. And the same thing with the Lilac You A Lot palette. I ended up selling the All Amethyst palette, and I ended up replacing it with the Lilac You A Lot palette. And I've been wanting the Lilac You A Lot palette for a long time. Then I was like, why didn't I just get this one over the All Amethyst palette? But also, I had to sell the All Amethyst palette rather than just returning it to Ulta, because I ordered it on ColourPop to use a coupon code. But originally I should have just bought it from Ulta, because after I tried it a couple times, I could have just returned it there. But it's okay. I still got some money for it after I sold it. Okay, so I'm just going to clean up my under eyes, and then we'll do my face. Okay, so now we're going to do my face. I just want to, it's my reminder. Hold on 1 second. So originally I was supposed to work today because I was like on call whether or not a certain employee was gonna work today. But they ended up working, so I texted my boss at like 1:30, and I was like, hey, do I need to get ready soon? Like, am I coming in? And she said, don't worry about it. She came in today, so you don't have to work. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I did work Tuesday and Wednesday, and I worked Sunday, so I kind of wanted today and tomorrow off. I don't know why I cannot. What am I even looking for? What am I looking for? Oh, the mirror. Where is my... It's right in front of me. Oh my god. That's not bad. Alright, I was just checking something. Okay, so I'm just going to prep my face with my Everyday Prep Spray, which is the one from Fourth Ray Beauty. It's just so hydrating, and it feels so nice on the skin. And then for primer, I whipped out this one. I haven't used this in quite a while, and this is the MAC Prep and Prime Natural Radiance primer. I don't know if this is still good. Let me just... It still smells okay, so we're going to use it as long as it smells good. This one I got from my sister when we were cleaning out her New York apartment when lockdown happened. She gave this to me, but I don't really use it too much on camera, so I was like, I'll use this today. And it's super, super hydrating and a really, really nice primer. I really like this one. It's like giving your face a glass of water after you use that spray. So this is what I do to add hydration to my face, is that I always use a prep spray before I go in with my face products or my base, because I don't usually use I use moisturizer after I wash my face every day. I don't typically put on moisturizer when I'm doing my makeup. I'll do like a more creamy or moisturizing primer, and that basically acts like a moisturizer anyway. So for my face products, I'm gonna go in, or base, I don't know why I keep on saying face product. I'm going to use a discontinued foundation because unfortunately Bite Beauty is no longer going to be at Sephora. So I'm going to use the Bite Beauty Changemaker foundation, and I've said this so many times when I use this. I haven't used it in like a month or two, I think, or at least a month. Is that people either love this or hate this. I personally love it. I think it's super creamy, and I love the consistency of it, and I really love how it looks on the skin. So I'm going to use it today. I don't know if I'm seeing my boyfriend yet today, though. He said he was going to get a new phone, and I know that he's probably switching his SIM card right now, so he hasn't been able to message me back in like a little while. So he told me to come over if I didn't work, so hopefully. So I'm just gonna put this on. Feels like this is already like dry for some reason. So what was I gonna say about? So I got that primer from my sister along with the Fenty Beauty primer because basically that was like her thanks to me and my mom to like just because she wanted us to send as little as possible to her because they went to California to live there for like a year when lockdown happened. Because they were lucky enough to stay with her fiance's parents. But like she had like a lot of stuff that she couldn't take with her. Like all she took was like her basics and essentials and stuff, obviously. When they left to go to California, and then my mom said that me and her were going to pack up her apartment. And that was like the only time I went to the city that year. Did not go to the city until last December when all of us were vaccinated and boosted. We went to karaoke. And I think that was the only time I went last year. Really did not go that much. And then I went this past July to go see Thor with a bunch of my friends. But that's how little I've been to the city since COVID happened. Like I'll go once a year and then I'm like, I'm good. Because it's just not really like when you go to the city so much, honestly, the reason why I like avoiding the city is one, it's super hella expensive to go. So there's one reason. And then the other reason is just because it smells like piss all the time or it smells like garbage. So yeah. It's not the best. It's a pretty dirty city, honestly. So, yeah. So, for my concealer, I'm going to use my OG favorite drugstore concealer, which is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. You guys have seen me use this a gajillion times, but I'm going to use it today. And Mama didn't sleep that great last night, so it's perfect for today because it's the dark circle eraser for under my eyes. Like, how cliche. So I got that primer from her after we moved all of her stuff out. So I applied to Apple last week because I really just have been at Lucky way too long at this point. I didn't realize, and I cannot believe I'm even saying this out loud, but I've been there 5 years. 5 years. I've been there since August 2017, and it's now September of 2022 because today is September 1st, but I thought it was only since 2018 or 2019. No, it's been since 2017, and I was just like, girl, it's time to get out of there. It is time to get out of there. So nobody has called me yet. I am hoping and praying because, yeah. So, crossing my fingers. So, I'm just going to apply that underneath my eyes. I'm almost done with Animal Kingdom. I'm on episode 11, and there's 13 episodes. There's basically 13 episodes a season. I think only the first and second season were like 10 episodes. So the series finale was this past, I think, Sunday or Monday, so I'm almost done with it. So I only have 3 episodes left. It's been taking me a little bit longer because every time I want to sit down and watch it at night now, I can only watch one because then I start falling asleep after I want to start watching the second one. So I'll get like 10 minutes in and then I'll start falling asleep. So, but just for some reason, yesterday I didn't sleep the greatest. I don't know when he's going to answer me back because it's still not activated yet. His new phone. And I actually want to run some errands possibly. Okay, so for my under eyes, I'm going to use this powder. I haven't used this in a little while, but I really like this one still. This is the Becca Hydra Mist powder. And I'm going to take that. I basically now have been using the Rare Beauty one almost every day that I do like a more natural look. But this one's still a really good one. The reason why I love the Rare Beauty one so much is because it's such a lightweight powder. So that's why I've been using that one a bit more. But I really like how this looks with this concealer. My under eyes look healthy and fresh right now. They actually look pretty good. Dang, a girl is tired. It doesn't really smell that bad either, so I think we're okay, right? Yeah, but I would have been at work at this point if I would have had to work today. But honestly, I really didn't want to because I didn't sleep that great. And yeah, like I said, I just wanted another day off. Okay. And then for my face, I'm going to go back into the Flower Beauty powder and just use that. It's pretty much almost the same as the Pretty Fresh one. They pretty much do the same thing. It's still a beautiful powder. It looks so good right now. Wow. I remember why I loved it. Okay, I just got like hair somewhere. I don't know what happened. Okay, and then I'm just going to spray again with the Do It setting spray. Just to add some hydration. Okay, so let's go back into the palette. And I think I'll just use, what do I want for eyeliner? I'm not really sure. I was thinking about just using this berry one. I don't know if it goes that well. I also have like these metallic ones, but I was kind of just thinking about using a brown. Okay, so he just answered me. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use the brown. Okay, so I mean, yeah, meh. Let's see what this color looks like really quick. I mean, it's kind of like too purpley. I wanted it more like berry toned. Okay, so we'll use that. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's just do my eyeliner. I'm going to use this ColourPop one. Forget what the shade is, but I haven't used this in a little while, so. Oof. Hold on. Okay, so let me just apply this on the waterline. It's kind of a little dry, though. Like, it's not really pigmented. But it's kind of building up. I don't really want it to be that dark today anyway. It's not like a huge deal. But again, I don't love how pointy these newer ones are. Okay, so that's that. And then I'm just going to do my inner corners. So we're going to go back into the palette. And for that, I think I'm going to take the shade Turn On, which is a really pretty, like, goldish color. And we're going to use that because you guys know I can't resist a good gold. But it's also, like, usually the shade I use in this palette for my inner corners. And it's really pretty. Yeah, I really like this palette still. Like, I was like, oh, it's not going to be that good. Maybe, like, I still love my indie brands and my Urban Decay and my, like, other, oh my god, my indie brands or, like, my ColourPop more. But I'm like, this is actually performing pretty well still. I'm actually pretty surprised. It's really pretty. Love this color. The only product that is not going to be like an OG product is my lip product because I want to use that one a little bit more. And it's just something I've been loving for a little while, so. Okay. That looks super pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to prime my lashes and then we'll do mascara. Okay, and then for the mascara, I'm going to use the Ilia Fullest Volumizing Mascara. I don't use this as much as I used to when I owned it, but I did own this in a full size, and now I have the mini, so I was just going to use the ColourPop Act Natural one today, because that's like my go-to, but let's use something I don't use enough. That's the point of this video, right? I'm just gonna take that. Looks so good. It's a good mascara. Okay, so I do have to leave soon, I think. I'm not really sure when, but I just need my bottom lash mascara. I'm just going to do that off camera too. Okay, and then for bronzer, I use this bronzer quite a bit, but I haven't used it as much. I haven't used it as much since I got hooked on the ColourPop one, so I'm going to use my Ilia Drawn In Nightlight Matte Bronzer. I love this bronzer. It's beautiful. It's really not that matte on the skin. It, like, has, like, this beautiful, like, kind of sheeny effect still, and it's just such a nice bronzer, so we're going to use this today. It kind of is very similar to the ColourPop formula. I would say this one is the most similar. But I've been using the ColourPop one so much since I got it that I've been trying to dip back into some other bronzers, but like I always want to go back to the ColourPop one because I just love the color of it. So, but this one smells really good too. Okay. Sorry, just me and my boyfriend are texting. Okay, and then we're just gonna take that down the neck a little bit. Okay, what do I want for blush? I didn't really decide yet. I mean, I do have one in front of me that I was thinking about using, but I don't know. This one's so pretty though, the Becca one, but it's a little bit too pink for this. I also have these from Makeup Geek in front of me, but I've been dipping into these quite a bit because I have been keeping like some blushes in front of me, like some blush like single blush palettes in front of me when I don't know what blush to use, or if I'm like in a hurry for work, I'll just grab one of those Makeup Geek ones. And I have the Jaclyn Hill palette here, and I love that one for summer. So I'll just grab one of those if I haven't like picked out a blush for the day. I'm going to grab a blush. Just give me a second. Okay, and then for blush, I'm going to use this MAC highlight powder in the shade For Real. I don't really love how it looks as a highlighter, but I really like how this looks as a blush. So that's how we're going to use it today, and it's just gorgeous. I love the compact, and the packaging is so pretty. So I'm just going to go ahead and just take that, and it's kind of a pretty buildable product, so you can like swirl your brush in it and it builds up really soft and subtle, which I actually like sometimes in a blush, because sometimes people don't want too much color. They just want something that will add like a flush of color, and sometimes some blushes are just way too pigmented that I don't even want to use it. And I'm someone that uses makeup on a daily basis, and there's some blushes that I would avoid just because they're way too pigmented. Like the Melt Mariposa blush palette, that was way too much. Okay, so that is pretty. I want a tiny bit more. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, it looks so cool. I mean, it just looks really pretty. Okay, and then for highlight, we're going to go into a really old one. So this is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder in the shade Precious Petals. It's so old that the top fell off, but also like this happened when I wasn't even using it. I just wanted to swatch it to see what it looked like next to another highlighter like a couple of weeks ago, and just the top came off. But we're going to use this today. Y'all know I still love these, but I just haven't used it in a while, so I wanted to use it today. Still so pretty. Like, are you kidding me? I kind of messed up the application a bit on this side, but it's so pretty. So pretty. Dang, that is pigmented. But, like, these are always super blinding and super pretty. So, I love that. Oof, 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 oof. So pretty. Okay, so yeah, that looks gorgeous. Love it. Okay, and then I'm just gonna set my face, and then we'll just go in with a lip. As I just dropped my highlighting brush. I could speak English good, right? Okay, I'm just going to grab my brush that just fell. And I'm just going to do brow gel off camera. I just, again, set my face with the 4th Ray Beauty. And then I like tapping it out a little bit just to add that extra dew that I love. Y'all know I love a dewy complexion. It's just always my favorite. Like, I don't know how people do matte complexions, but obviously, like, I don't have super oily skin. Okay, so let me go eat something real quick, and then we'll do the lips. Okay, guys, so I'm back home, and somehow before I ended up forgetting to put on a lip product, and all I had with me were like my go-to glosses in my bag because I was kind of in a hurry earlier. So I just threw on my Fenty Beauty Fenty Glow lip gloss. I literally throw this on whenever I need something to make just my lips look good, or my lips are chapped after wiping my lipstick off for the day. And it's so funny because usually I do that when I get back to my boyfriend's house. When I get to my boyfriend's house, I just wipe my lipstick off because we're like eating and doing stuff. But we were actually going somewhere when I rushed out of the house and I forgot to put a lip product on. It's so funny, the one time we actually go in public somewhere, I don't wear lip products, but I just decided to wear this. So this is how the look turned out, and I think it turned out really pretty. The eyeshadow actually still looks really good after all this time. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. Maybe this inspired you guys to revisit some of your older products. So let me know if there's anything like in your collection that you've been revisiting that you ended up loving again, or you just use like older tried and true products. So yeah, I would love to know. Okay, bye.